going on, guys? This is Spartacus Bringer Rain coming at you with a figure review on the Mafex Wonder Woman. Of course, the figure's in a window box display, and it is a beautiful action figure, as I might add. And of course, you do see the accessories that comes with the action figure in the front of the box. And of course, you do have an image of the figure in front of the box. And of course, it does say Wonder Woman in the bottom of the box. And it does say Medicom Toys and DC logo as well. And of course, on top of the box, you do have the Wonder Woman logo and the Mafex logo. And of course, on the side of the box, you do have the logo for Wonder Woman. It does say Mafex, Wonder Woman, and of course, an image of the figure. And of course, in the back of the box, you have an image of the pose you can pose the figure in. It does have the Wonder Woman logo, and of course, the Mafex logo, and it does say Wonder Woman in the corner of the box. And of course, on the side of the box, you do have another image of the figure, and it does say Wonder Woman on the top of the box. So let's crack this bad girl up from a plastic prison, and let's take a look at the figure inside. All done outside the packaging. My first initial thoughts about the figure is that I wish Medicom would have done something different with this figure. For instance, right off the bat is the paint shading on the skin. They didn't add in no paint shading, but I believe they were trying to. Because for instance, on the left hand shoulder, there's no paint shading at all. And it looks really pale. And on the right hand shoulder, there's like a gloop of paint shading. It looks really bad on the figure, and it stands out on the figure in hand. So that's a big disappointment that Medicom didn't add in no paint shading into the skin, and it just looks really bad on the figure. But other than that, the figure looks nice, like the sculpting into it, and of course some of the paint job it has. Like for instance, her face sculpt looks really nice. It does look like Gal Gadot to me. But if they would have added the paint shading into it, like the shading into the skin tone, it would have stand out into the figure, and it would have looked like her like crazy. Because if you rotate the head sculpt, in some poses it does look like her. Even like when you look at her like this, it does look like her to me. But it just needed that skin tone shading into it, and it would have looked perfect. I also like the tiara that they did. Nice sculpting into it, nice clean paint job as well. There's no like paint splotches it or anything like that onto the tiara. And I like the hair, how they did the hair as well. It's nice wash into it, a black wash into it, and a brown wash as well, and looks really nice on the figure. Also the sculpt into it looks really nice. I believe this is like the best hair sculpt that I ever seen in a figure, a 6-inch figure. Also, her armor looks really nice as well. Like, I like the paint job that they did with the red. It's bright red, and it looks really nice on the figure, as well as the gold trim around the top. It looks really nice. There's no paint splotches or anything like that, and I was worried about that because sometimes Medicom does do paint splotches, and I was afraid of picking up this figure for that reason. Of course, her armband nicely sculpted as well. Nice paint job, no paint splotches, so they did a good job in that as well. And of course, on her gauntlets, there's a nice paint job as well. Like on the silver bits, they did a nice black shading into it, so that's nicely done as well. And of course, if you look carefully on the gold, they did no paint splotches, so I do like the fact that they did that. They did a nice clean paint job as well. Of course, her hands nicely sculpted as well. I just wish they would add that shading into the skin. It would have looked really good on the figure. I'm just bummed out about that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep bringing it up because that was the biggest letdown of this figure. And of course, I like the fact how they did the skirt piece. For instance, like nice soft plastic, not hard plastic, because I was afraid too, because if they would have gone the hard plastic way, it would have hindered the articulation on the legs. So I like the fact that they didn't do that. So I do appreciate Medicom doing that. So they did a nice sculpting as well. The biggest complaint I have with the skirt though, it does have paint splotches. For instance, if you might see that they didn't paint skirt piece all the way, there's like paint splotches here and there. There's one right there. And I really didn't pose the figure when I was taking it out of the packaging. This is when I looked at the figure, when I took it out, I was like, wow, they missed some of the paint job right here on the front. And of course, I'm not taking away points on Medicom on this one because I could just hide it with her skirt piece, but that is a little bit disappointing that there's just like 3 or 4 paint splotches on the skirt piece alone. So I don't like the fact that they did that. And of course, nice paint job on the gold on the skirt piece. Nicely clean. Well, not really. Right here, it's a paint splotch right there. Getting more disappointed while doing this review. It just, I don't know. Well, anyways, let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. I like the fact that they did this. For instance, her boots, they cut it in 3 pieces. One on the top of her joint and the other in the bottom of the joint. And it doesn't hinder the articulation. So I like the fact that Mafex did that. And they did a nice paint job on the armor as well. Nicely done. Nicely sculpted. No paint splotches. So I'm really happy that they didn't do that. So far, what I see. I do like the sculpting into it. Like the nice rivets right here. Like the line work. They did it black paint for it could stand out a little bit more. So it's not bad. And nice sculpting into the bottom of her feet. I do like these. They look really, really nice. So overall, the sculpting is not bad on the figure. Even this belt, that's another thing I don't like about the figure is the belt. I wish it rested on the skin a little bit more. Like for instance, on some of the poses you do, it like kind of flaps like that. So you gotta kind of like mess around with it for it could sit naturally. And just like this belt really gets me really, really mad. But other than that, the figure is a nice figure, but I don't know. There's a few things about the figure that I do not like. And it just sometimes I understand why Medicom does some of their things for not to hinder the articulation, but I don't know. Just wish this figure would have been a little bit better than what it is. But anyways, let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. And now to get into the accessories of the action figure, of course, we do have 2 lassos of truth, one wrapped and one unwrapped. Her God Killer sword, her shield, her 1 head sculpt that she comes with, and 3 interchangeable pairs of hands. So of course we're going to jump right into the lassos of truth. I do like this unwrapped lasso of truth. It has a nice translucent yellow into it, and I do like the texturing that they have in it, like a real lasso. And I do like the fact that it's translucent. I think they did a good job on it. Really nice texturing into it, like a real lasso. So I do like the fact that they did that. They didn't have to do like texturing into it, but I do like the fact that they did. And especially around here, like in the part that's wrapped, it has that little wrap that you see into the one that's wrapped right now that I'll be showing you in a little bit. And of course her wrapped lasso of truth, and I digging the color on this lasso. It's nice bronze color, and it just looks like a real lasso to me. It looks really good. Like for instance, if you see the rivets all around, it looks like it's been wrapped like an actual lasso. So I do like the fact they added this as well in the accessories where you can put it in her holster that I'll be showing you in a little bit. And of course her God Killer sword, I think they did a good job as well on this accessory. Like for instance, I like the texturing that they did on the handle. Nice sculpt, and of course they did do a bronze color into it, so I am digging the fact that they did that as well. What I remember from the movie, it does look like it. Like for instance, right here on the end of the blade, I remember it having like a dragon or a beast into it, and they captured that really nicely on this sword. And of course it does have like lettering into it. I don't know what it says because I think it's like Amazon lettering, but I like that they added that little small detail. They didn't have to add that, but they did. So I'm really, really digging that. And of course, my favorite accessory is the shield. I do like the fact that they added a paint wash into it, into the gold, and it's a nice bronze color, and I do like it a lot, especially in the back. They didn't have to added this nice texturing into the handle, and I'm happy that they did, but they really didn't have to go that extra mile for that, because it is gonna be covering from the back when the figure's holding it. So I do like the fact that they added that. It's nicely done. This is my favorite accessory because all the detail that it comes with, and of course it has the detail all around the shield in the back. And I keep saying they really didn't have to add that extra, but they did the extra mile for us for that. And of course in the front, I like the nice texturing all around it, nice sculpting into it, nice clean paint job as well. Like, I can't really complain too much about the accessories, so I do appreciate that they added the extra mile on some of these accessories. Because the figure, oh boy, a lot to talk about in the end of the video about that. And of course, her extra head sculpt, I think they did a good job on it. Nice Gal Gadot mad or attack mode or whatever you want to call it. They did a good job on it as well. Nice paint job on it. But of course, the biggest downfall of it is that it doesn't have shading into the skin. Like, I'm sorry I keep bringing it up, but that's the thing that kills the figure. It's the shading in the skin. It's just too pale to me. I don't know. It just really bummer that they really didn't added that shading into. Honestly, would dig the figure a lot more if it did had that, but it's just unfortunate they didn't added that little thing to make the skin pop. But I guess this is the route they went with. But anyways, of course, I do like the tiara that they did. Nice paint job, nice sculpting like in the other head sculpt that it came in with the figure. Of course, her eyes are nicely done. No paint splotches or anything like that. So I am digging the fact that they did a nice clean paint job on it, on the lips and on the teeth as well. And of course, her hair is nicely done. Nice wash into it, nice black wash into it. And I don't know, like, I really dig the hair because it's nice soft plastic. And of course, our 3 interchangeable hands, they're nicely done, nice sculpting into it, nice wrap all around the hands. So I really can't complain too much about it. The only thing you're gonna hear me complain about is the skin tone. I just wish, like I keep telling you guys, I just wish that they added that nice shading into the skin, but they didn't. And it really frustrates me because this figure could have been a lot better than what it is, but it's not. And it just like gets me really, really irritated. Of course, this is to hold her God Killer sword. It's nicely done. I do like the sculpting into it. I can't really complain too much about it. And of course, this is her open palm holding hand. It's nicely done, but to me, I think these are the least hands that I'll be using with the figure. But honestly, I do like the fact that they added this, just in case if I wanted to add another kind of pose into the figure. But it's nicely done, nice sculpting. I can't say really nice paint job, but nice sculpting into the hands as well. And this is her Lasso Truth holding hand. I think they did a good sculpting job into it, nicely done. And I can't really complain about that. And I do like the wrap all around. So it's just like the other ones. They didn't do no paint splotches or mispaint or anything like that. So I do like the fact that they did that. So overall, the accessories are really nice on the figure. Of course, the biggest complaint that I have is the hands, that they didn't add no skin tone into the hands. But other than that, I do like the sword and I do like the shield the most. But anyways, let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. And now to get into articulation of the figure, her head's in a ball joint, as you might have seen earlier in the review. So she can not look up at all, can look down a little bit. It's because the hair does hinder the articulation, and it hinders it a lot. Like, for instance, she cannot look side to side. Well, if you lift up the hair, but it looks kind of weird. It does hit the figure in the back. so it does hinder the articulation a lot. And of course, on the other side as well, as you might see. And of course, she does have ball joints in the shoulder, so she can move up quite a bit, about that much. And I don't consider this bicep swivel, but you can swivel it all around. And of course, she does have double jointed elbows, but they can only bend that much, so that's unfortunate. I wish that they bend a little bit more than that. And of course, she does have a swivel on her wrist, and she can hinge them down and up, so that's pretty good. And I like the ab crunch that they did with the figure. For instance, she has an ab crunch on the top by her breastises, if you want to say it like that. But, and of course, there's another cut by her waist that they added, so she can bend it a little bit more. So I do like the fact that they did that. So I do like that articulation to it. And of course, she does have a swivel on her waist, so it's not bad. And of course, she does have all joints on her feet, so she can kick out that much. So that's really, really good. I do like the fact that they did that as well. Of course, no thigh cut. She has double jointed knees. They bend in quite a bit. And like I said earlier, I do like the fact that they hid the hinge nicely with the armor. So I do like the fact they hit it really nicely as well. And of course, no boot cut at all. And she kind of has these weird articulation on her foot. Like for instance, she can hinge them up a little bit, hinge them down quite a bit. And she has like this weird ankle pivot. She has it, but I really wouldn't consider it ankle pivot because it's like hinges side. Like it's just this weird ankle pivot, but it has it, but it's kind of weird. Overall, the articulation is not bad, but there's a few things that I really wish Mafex would have done with this figure. And it's just unfortunate they didn't add that, but anyways, let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. And of course, for size comparison, we have the Marvel Legends Deadpool and the Marvel Legends Wolverine. And for my final thoughts about this figure is that this figure is a nice figure to have in your collection, but I am kind of in the middle of having this figure in my collection because one, the paint ads for the skin really do bother me. The rest of the figure, I do like it, even if shoulders are a little bit off to me. But other than that, the armor looks really nice. Yes, the skirt piece did bother me because it does have mist paint here and there. But other than that, the figure is a nice figure, but just the skin tone really bothers me. But if I was to rate this figure from a 1 through 10, I would most likely rate her a 7.5. And the reason for that is just the sculpting, the accessories that comes with it, and the armor pieces look really nice. Even the face sculpt, it does look like Gal Gadot to me. Just comment below to let me know what you guys think about the head sculpt. But to me, it does look like her. But just that skin tone, it really bothers me. But I hope you guys liked the review. If you could please like, comment, and subscribe for more content coming your way. And as always, have a good one.